Goeiemorgen. Good morning, fellow South Africans. And in the last video I had a couple of senators talking about migration numbers coming to Australia, and what I'm going to attach now is a video where we have our Prime Minister talking about how they're going to put a cap on permanent migration to Australia. So you'll hear it from the horse's mouth. Now, there is one qualification here. The reason they're looking at capping migration, permanent migration to Australia, is because the services in cities like Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane are becoming really stretched. The schools are full, the public transport system is under stress. There are a whole lot of things related to overpopulation that are now causing the government to react in this way. Now, the qualification I'm making is that we're talking about migration to one of the major city centres. They are looking for people to migrate to some of the rural areas, and here we're talking about areas which are outside the city centres, the farming areas, communities where they're looking for new fresh blood, because what's happening is the farmers' kids are going to the cities, which is even making the situation harder. So they're looking for permanent residents who will actually live in rural centres and make their lives there. So there's a good and a bad to this whole thing, but you need to be aware of what's going on in Australia. Now, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, and what I'll do now is I'll attach that video where you can hear Scott Morrison, our Prime Minister, talking specifically about why they're going to be reducing the numbers of permanent migrants to Australia. And I should also say that this is not New Zealand, so there's always the option of going to Kiwiland or New Zealand. Alright guys, have a great day. Bye.
The roads are clogged, the buses and the trains are full, the schools are taking no more enrolments. This is what is being reflected back to us, and we can hear that. And that's why we very much need to improve how we manage population growth in this country. We have become, I think in Sydney and Melbourne, a bit of a victim of our own success, and in southeast Queensland. The growth of our economy, which has been very centred often on our southeastern states, has fuelled that growth and created these challenges. Now, population growth, as you know, comes from three sources: people who are born here, permanent migrants to Australia, and temporary migrants to Australia. They are the three components that drive population growth. More so within a state, you would add to that interstate movements of people. You go to Queensland, what you'll see is a much higher level of interstate movements, which is putting a lot of pressure on what's happening in southeast Queensland. Now, that's different to here in New South Wales, where that's not occurring. The pressures are particularly coming from international migration. And over the current decade, around 42% of growth has occurred naturally, and about just under 60% has occurred as a result of migration. And over the 2 decades to 2016, our national population grew by 6 million. Our permanent migration intake is currently running about 30,000 below what the existing cap is. In how we might decide what that cap would be in the future, my approach is to actually get away from the top-down discussions about population to set our intake cap and get into a discussion from the bottom up. Now, I believe that this is likely to end up in revising down the permanent migration cap in Australia. That would be my expectation.